One of the most important things you have to be doing after ACL rehab is including blood flow restriction training as part of your rehab. My name is Dr. Marco Lopez, Doctor of Physical Therapy and Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist and co-founder of the Basketball Doctors. The goal for Basketball Doctors is to improve your performance and help you play basketball pain-free. Also, this is not medical advice. If you need medical advice, visit your local healthcare practitioner or send us a DM, see how we can help you. But we're gonna go over why blood flow restriction training is crucial for ACL reconstruction rehab. So if you want to learn more about ACL reconstruction rehab, click the link in our bio when we go over how a tear happens, what kind of surgery is needed, and other details like that. But let's say you already had ACL reconstruction surgery. So early on, you won't be able to really strengthen your quad as much as you want because one, swelling, two, just the normal healing process. The knee joint itself is gonna be irritated. You can only do so much. We're working on knee range of motion. So we wanna find ways to minimize the atrophy of the quad that's gonna happen throughout this rehab process. And one of the ways we minimize that is through blood flow restriction training. So what exactly is blood flow restriction training? Click this link in the bio, which goes into full 10-minute video on blood flow restriction training, but we'll give you a quick little recap. So blood flow restriction training is pretty much a way for us to strengthen the muscle without putting excessive load on the joint by decreasing blood flow to the muscle. So what's gonna happen is we use a tourniquet system here, which we're using by Suji, and we place the tourniquet system in the proximal limb, so more in the top of your thigh, and from there, that's gonna decrease the arterial blood flow, meaning that blood flow from the artery to your muscles by around 70%, 60 to 70%, and then it's gonna fully occlude 100% venous outflow, so the blood coming back to your body gets occluded. So the reason we do that is because it depletes the oxygen from the muscle and allows us to really get that hormonal response. So we're not only gonna improve muscle size by strengthening the muscle by working out with it, we're also improving protein synthesis, and we're also having this analgesic effect, which helps decrease pain. So in today's video, we're gonna go over some of the basic exercises we like to use early on after ACL reconstruction with blood flow restriction training to really get that quad working and everything. All right, guys, we're gonna go over the exercises that you need to be doing after ACL reconstruction surgery with blood flow restriction training. Like we mentioned, we're using the Suji BFR system. If you wanna purchase your own, click the link in our description. We have a special discount code for you guys. But we're gonna go over the setup and then what 3 exercises I like to use early on to really get that quad working after ACL reconstruction surgery. And we have videos on why quad activation is important, but we're gonna talk about how we use BFR with it to assist it. Because like we mentioned before, this is very important to help activate the muscle without putting excessive load on the joint. So here's the tourniquet system. It's kind of like a blood pressure cuff. You're gonna place this as high as you can towards your groin, and the reason we get that is we want to be able to cover as much as we can to actually expose that quad area. From there, I'm gonna make sure that strap is pretty snug there. We don't want it too loose or anything. So once we have that cuff there, then here is the system that actually applies pressure to inflate this tourniquet. So from here, it's app enabled. So first we would actually kind of stabilize it, kind of calibrate it, so we're laying down, we get our full reading. Once we get 100% of that, that means total occlusion, where our artery is completely occluded, we're gonna be working out at 70%. So meaning 30% of blood flow is only going back to our knee. So here we're gonna start inflating it, we turn it on. As you can see, it's pumping air into this, inflating this on my leg. What we also don't want is for there to be total numbness and tingling in your leg. That's probably because you hit a little nerve. Most of the time it doesn't happen that way. So once we get that, the cool thing about it, it's all Bluetooth enabled. Once we do that, we just click it off, boom, our blood pressure cuff is activated. So we're gonna go over those 3 exercises. So the first exercise is gonna be the quad set. So whenever you have a surgery, a lot of the times, we wanna really focus on that mind connection of that quad. So one of my favorite exercises is let's just activate the quad, so by squeezing both quads and bringing your knee down. So I don't want to just squeeze my quad and not bring my knee down. I want to also be working on my knee extension range of motion. So what I'm going to do is squeeze both quads, hold it for a couple seconds, then let it go. Also, sometimes we like to use like a little towel, or my cue is hey, push into my hand here. So I'm gonna squeeze my quad and get my knees straight there. And I also sometimes want a heel pop. Early on, you're not gonna be able to get that. As long as you just get that knee straight early on, that's the most important thing. Hyperextension is gonna come, but ideally, let's just get the quad working, getting it straight there. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna squeeze the quad, hold it for a couple seconds there, and then let go. So our rep scheme is we're gonna try to do this. Normally, I don't really do this for reps as much. It's more for a time. So I want you to squeeze this, hold it for 5 seconds, then let it go. I'm gonna set a timer for 8 to 10 minutes because we want as many repetitions as we can for this exercise. So we're squeezing, letting it go. So because it's really hard to get that quad activated because one, you have swelling, and also neurologically, sometimes the knee kind of shuts off after knee surgery. So the more we get that quad working, activated, the better it is. So that's the first exercise. The next exercise that we like to use is we're gonna do it in a position where we're gonna be in an open kinetic chain. So as opposed to you laying down, now we're sitting off the edge, we're gonna be activating at 90 degrees. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna sit off the edge, you're gonna use your other leg for resistance, and you're gonna push into that leg. This left leg is providing resistance, this right leg is kicking up. And you're gonna be working that quad isometrically. So you're gonna hold it for 5 seconds, then slowly let go. And then push up for 5 seconds. You're gonna do this again for 8 to 10 minutes with this BFR, because right now we're just trying to get the quad working again with BFR. And the most important thing is a lot of people say like, hey, don't do knee extensions all the way early on. We're not going all the way. The most stress is in that 30 to 0 degree range. We're actually keeping it at a very fairly neutral range, 90 degrees here. And we're just squeezing, pushing. Really think about squeezing this muscle. But I normally like to do laying down first, then we move on to here. Because if we can't get the quad activated laying down, this is a little bit harder. Once we do that for 8 to 10 minutes, our next exercise is gonna be more in the standing position. So it's called the TKE. So what happens is, if I stand here, I like to either have something behind me, so you can use the table itself to be like, okay, my knee's gonna be bent, right? I wanna squeeze my quad and get my knees straight by pushing to the back of the table, then slowly letting it go. And squeeze, then slowly letting it go. So if you see this angle, my knee's gonna be bent here. Then I squeeze it, getting it straight there. So I let go slightly, bend it here. So normally you don't have to bend it, just kind of go back to your resting position. That's the position that the knee wants to stay in, that bending position. And squeeze, get it straight. Slowly let it go. One of the things that we don't want is for you to rotate your body or just throw your leg out. I really want to feel that muscle squeezing and controlling there. So same thing with this. I'm going to hold it for 5 seconds. Slowly let it go. 5 seconds, let it go. I want to do this for 8 to 10 minutes because we want the repetition here. You could do it for reps. I would just like doing it for minutes because we want that mind and muscle connection as much as we can. We're really getting that quad activated. So those are kind of the big 3 exercises I like to use after ACL reconstruction surgery. The list goes on and we could go on to more. You could do squats and everything, but early on, let's just get the quad working. But this is using BFR. So like I mentioned guys before, if you want to have your own system, you could definitely do that. This is the Suji system. The good thing about the Suji system, you could do it at home. It's enabled through an app. And then once you're done between sets, you just deflate it. And once you deflate it, the air just goes slowly out and you can just take off the strap. So right now it's getting deflated. Once it gets deflated, I just take that off and then I could take it off. So, and the good thing about this too, it's wireless. So when we put the pressure on, decrease the pressure, you can move freely. So you're not attached to a hose or anything like that. But yeah guys, click the link in our description for a special discount code for our Suji system. Also, if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe button, share this with any friends or family or any fellow basketball players that are dealing with ACL reconstruction surgery. The most important thing is, like I mentioned guys, BFR is huge for this ACL reconstruction surgery and helps expedite your recovery. We are the Basketball Doctors. Let's ball for life.